So in the midst of this summer break, after rookie and mandatory minicamps, there's not a lot going on. The Browns and njoku, of course, had the softball game. Shedeur got a few bad speeding tickets. Really nothing too much to talk about there. But recently, a newly acquired receiver made a big prediction about the Browns quarterback room and who he thinks is going to end up being the starting QB. And then I guess there's a few other things that might be kind of worthwhile to talk about, but it's been a while since I've made a news style video on the Cleveland Browns. So with that being said, let's just get right into everything. But first off, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 60,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so the Cleveland Browns brought in Diontae Johnson this offseason to help improve the receiving core. The former Pro Bowl wide receiver is looking to revitalize his career in Cleveland, but before that can happen, the Browns have to make a decision on who will be the starting quarterback and who will be throwing him and Jerry Jeudy the ball. Cleveland is obviously currently in the midst of a 4-man quarterback battle. Really, it's a 5-man quarterback battle, and the decision does not seem to be close. During a recent episode of The Comeback, Johnson made his prediction on who he believes will start under center. "I think they're going to roll with Kenny for right now," Johnson said. Johnson signed with the Browns this offseason after what was a difficult year in 2024. He refused to enter a game with the Baltimore Ravens, who were one of the 3 teams he was a part of. Johnson spent time with Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh. The two know each other well, and this could be part of the thinking for the Browns. And look, this isn't just some casual endorsement. This is a receiver who's gone to war with Kenny Pickett before. This is someone who knows how he leads, how he thinks, what he likes in certain coverages. Did he have a slip up last season? Yes, but he's human and he was in a bad football situation. And the fact that Diontae is willing to say this publicly kind of tells you where his head is at. And even though I personally disagree with his statement, and I know a lot of you guys probably do as well, he actually is on the field. He's a real player. He's on the team, and we are not. We all know the Browns quarterback competition has been one of the more fascinating stories across the league. It's wide open. You've got Shedeur Sanders, the flashy rookie who has been on top of all the headlines. You got Joe Flacco, the seasoned vet, who won games for this team already 2 years ago. And you got Kenny Pickett, who's in this unique position where he's not a rookie, but he's also not cemented. He's somewhere in the middle, trying to prove himself again. Now let's be honest, when it comes to wide receiver confidence, familiarity goes a long way. If a guy you already have chemistry with is in the mix, that gives you a little extra trust. And if you don't think that stuff matters, it absolutely does. Training camp reps, pre-snap checks, route adjustments, these guys have already done it before. Diontae's seen Kenny throw him open. He's worked through slumps with him. That kind of bond doesn't reset just because you change teams. And that might be the edge Pickett needs early on in camp to separate himself. Obviously, I think there's a 99% chance that he will get benched at some point. I don't think Pickett has as high of a ceiling as some of the other quarterbacks on the team right now, and I do think Joe Flacco is the better option to start, but I could see the reasoning for Pickett to earn the Week 1 job. But at the same time, I don't want people to overlook Shedeur Sanders, because while the off-field noise is starting to build a little bit, I'm still very confident in him long term. Yeah, he had 2 speeding tickets in a short span, going over 90 miles per hour both time, and the second one was 101. But hey, LeBron did that too, if you guys remember. But I really think people are blowing this all out of proportion. He's a young guy, he's new to Ohio roads, and anyone who spent more than 2 weeks driving through this state knows cops love sitting on those side roads just waiting for you. Shedeur is learning what it's like to be under the microscope, and that's part of being a professional, and his brother Shiloh did not waste any time in trolling him about it. Now, let me be clear, I'm not excusing it, you gotta be smarter, but it doesn't concern me at all in terms of his growth as a football player. There are the kind of early growing pains we've seen countless young quarterbacks go through, and everything we've heard out of minicamp has been mostly positive when it comes to how he's picked up the offense, how he's communicated in the huddle, and the kind of throws he's been making. The one knock that keeps coming up is just adjusting to the speed of the NFL, and that's completely normal. What I will say is that with this QB room, I think the Browns might actually do something rare and carry all 4 quarterbacks into the actual season. I know that's not typical. Most teams roll with 2 and a practice squad guy. Some go with 3, but this Brown situation is different. None of these guys are super expensive. Pickett and Shedeur are both on rookie deals. Dylan Gabriel's cheap, and Joe Flacco's contract isn't breaking the cap. If this competition stays tight into August, they might actually just keep everyone and figure it out on the fly. You don't want to cut someone who might have starter level upside just to save a spot for your 4th tight end. Now, speaking of tight ends, this is still very much David Njoku's room. He's coming off the best year of his career. I think he's actually one of the more underrated tight ends in the league. I think he's top 3. He just hasn't had consistent quarterback play. I've said that in like a million videos. But keep an eye on rookie Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green, who I actually have talked about a lot over the last 5 weeks or so. The dude is an athletic freak and is already drawing praise from the coaching staff. I don't think he's going to be a huge focal point in year 1, but with the way the Browns want to run the ball and set up play action, having a second tight end who can stretch the field vertically is going to be a key asset. Now shifting back to the wide receiver room, things have gotten really competitive here, but I'm not that confident in what the Browns actually have. You got Jerry Jeudy, Cedric, and Diontae Johnson as your clear top 3. Jeudy is obviously the number 1 guy, but I'm still contemplating in my head if Cedric has enough upside to really take on being in a number 2 type of role. Obviously, I can't say anything yet because he has not had this opportunity, and he showed a couple of flashes last season. I do remember that 1 touchdown catch he had, but I'm a little nervous about the Browns not having at least another solid number 2 type of guy. Because even Diontae Johnson, after the mental breakdowns he is coming off of, I'm even nervous about him being a number 3 guy. I think Jeudy is a strong 1. He really broke out last season. I expect that to continue even more. But if opposing secondaries can completely focus on Jeudy and njoku and nobody else steps up and provides some sort of consistency, life is going to be really hard on the QBs. Also, one thing I don't think is being talked about enough is the Browns' new look running back room. Nick Chubb is now a Houston Texan, so that means the backfield is now all about Quinshon Judkins and Jerome Ford, and also Sampson. Judkins in particular is getting some rave reviews throughout the Browns coaching staff and the insiders, and we all saw what he can do at Ohio State. If he can be the tone setter in this offense, then suddenly this team looks very different than the one we saw last season. That 2024 team couldn't move the ball, but if Judkins and Ford help give them a reliable run game, it opens up everything else: play action, RPO, even more deep shots. Anyways, switching topics over to the defense, it would be criminal not to talk more about Mason Graham, the number 5 overall pick, and we're not hearing nearly enough about him, and I get it, he's not going to generate social media clips the way a quarterback or a wideout will, but the Browns are going to rely heavily on him this year. Jim Schwartz already said it, it's an adjustment, they run a penetrating scheme, they want guys who can fire off the ball and make plays in the backfield. That's not exactly what Graham does spot on, that's not exactly what he did at Michigan, because he was an elite run stuffer, but that doesn't mean he can't do it. I think he'll start next to Malik Collins on the interior, with Myles Garrett and probably Alex Wright or Isaiah McGuire on the edge. That's a really young, athletic front that's going to get after the quarterback, and let's not forget Schwartz rotates his D-line heavily, so even if Graham doesn't play 70% of the snaps right away, he'll get plenty of chances to show what he's all about. This defense finished top 5 in most categories in 2023. The pieces are still here to repeat that, or maybe even better. Also, I want to shout out the Browns' offensive line because I don't think people appreciate how critical this unit is going to be in 2025. DeJuan Jones, Joel Bitonio, Ethan Posich, Wyatt Teller, and Jack Conklin, that's your projected starting 5 if everyone's healthy. But there are some guys that have a lot to prove. This group was inconsistent last year. Some weeks they dominated, other weeks they got bullied. They could not stay healthy and together on the field to save their lives. If the Browns want to keep their quarterbacks upright and get anything going on the ground, this unit has to be the anchor, because it doesn't matter if you've got Flacco, Pickett, or Shedeur back there. If you can't protect, you're not going to win more than 5 games. So yeah, this might be the quiet part of the offseason, but there's still a lot going on behind the scenes. The quarterback competition is heating up. Diontae Johnson is already planting his flag for Kenny Pickett. Shedeur's growing pains are being overblown. Mason Graham is being slept on, and this roster might be a little bit deeper than people actually think. That's really all I have to say for this video. I know it wasn't the most action-packed one. I promise there's going to be a lot to talk about after these next 2 or 3 weeks are over and training camp is finally here. That's when the NFL truly starts. That's when things get exciting and there's real topics to talk about. But yeah, thank you all so much if you made it to this point. Please be sure to drop a like and subscribe because your support truly does mean the world. And until next time, I will see you all later.